everyone, and welcome to another episode of Estella's Intuitive Chamber. I am so excited to do this because I have decided to do the Narcissistic Manipulator number 2. The last video, I got quite a lot of questions on it and a lot of interest, and I think it's because there's a lot of people who deal with this type of behavior today, especially into this modern age where we do end up developing some sort of narcissistic side. You know, we look at our screens all day, we're looking for validation, we're taking lots of pictures, videos, and we post it online, and we're like desperate for attention, you know, and we're closing each other up in this like little bubble, and then we basically have no healthy social interaction outside of our little virtual world. Kind of people, for example, they function in a whole different level. And what happens is, if you haven't had enough encounters with them, if you hadn't had enough experience, life experience is very valuable. Sometimes it's also like intuition and psychicness in some way. So if you're not able to tell, even sometimes even with psychic people and intuitive people, because they are master manipulators, because they do give off this vibe, there's something wrong with them, but then your brain, as I said in the beginning, you trick your brain into thinking that, okay, what I'm feeling isn't valid. It's like, this is a nice person, it's excellent or beautiful, great. It's behaving this way. Therefore, you trick your brain into thinking that this person is nice, and then you feel on an energetical level, you feel a stone that falls into your gut. Either it falls here or it falls a bit deeper, and you feel that. And you're like, I know this feeling, but then my brain is tricking me into thinking, actually, this person is nice. So you go on and believing that, and then you get a nice little nasty surprise in the end. It's almost like leaving a little piece of shit on your doorstep, So, the way I learned to see these patterns, obviously, I've learned the hard way. So the first thing that obviously I'm gonna post a chart, and hopefully I can fit it on the screen so it can be seen properly. The first thing I want to point out, for a reason now, when you look at Pluto being involved. So if you look at an afflicted moon, because obviously the moon is our emotional nature, is how we emotionally connect to others, how we emotionally display ourselves, how we put ourselves out there emotionally, how we receive emotions, how we give emotions. It's our mother, it's our can be our home, or it can be our anything connected to the moon. But mainly it's how we our ability to emotionally connect to others. First red flag, seeing an afflicted moon. That's the first flag that you want to look out for. The second thing, that's not the first red flag, that's the second red flag. First red flag, I would say, is afflicted Mercury. Mercury obviously rules over our mind. It's the way we communicate to others, the way we think, the way we process information, the way we learn, the way we talk, and generally the way we use our verbal expression. So obviously having an afflicted Mercury would make an individual afflicted per se, mentally, and with an afflicted moon would make it afflicted emotionally as well. Now, with narcissistic manipulators, you want to look out for the next couple of signs. So you want to look out for a lot of Leo influence. Sorry, Leos, this is not an attack against you, but you are ruled by the sun. And unfortunately, I have seen this with a lot of people who have a lot of Leo, as well as a lot of Aries. But Aries is a different story now. Leos are more, it's just what it is. No, it's not an attack on you. Now you want to look out for a lot of Libra. Why? Now, not a lot will agree. They will agree that Libra is a sign that values balance and diplomacy and friendliness and this and that. Why this falls into the category of a manipulator? Because Libras they just know their way with people. They will put on a soft voice, a very friendly voice, a very how will I say this? A voice that is audiologically, I don't know if you can say that, audiologically very appealing, because if we hear a very nice and soft voice, automatically our brains are gonna calm down, they're gonna be more trusting of this person and so on. Not with all Libras, that we obviously you have people that are on the low side, you have people that are on the high side, of their energy. So low value people and high value people, that's how I like to separate them. Low value Libras are going to be very manipulative for the reason that they know their way. As I said, they know their way with people. They know how to communicate to get what they want. Oftentimes they will put on a nice smile on their face. They will look very nice. The Libras like to look amazing. If you have ever dated a guy with a lot of Libra, you're gonna see that he likes very beautiful women. And I'm talking about not just a beautiful woman. They feel entitled to have a woman that is a model, even though maybe they look like shit themselves. But it's the entitledness to have that beautiful, aesthetically perfect woman, for example. They can aesthetically look very pleasing themselves, but will oftentimes lack emotional depth. The reason being is I feel is because Libra, when you look at the 12 signs, I know that Libra is the only it's the only object in astrology that isn't something alive. It's an object. So there can be very, on a superficial level, there can be a lot of nice dealings with them, a lot of nice anyway, it can be a lot, there can be a lot of nice dealings with them on a very superficial level. But once you try to go deep, that's where the problem arises, because you feel like you can't really go very deep. Not saying completely that Libras are unemotional and lack empathy. Absolutely not. I'm just stating that this is the most common nominator I have observed and seen with this kind of people, especially if you have men with Moon in Libra, Venus in Libra, and afflicted Libras, and afflicted Mercury, and maybe the Sun as well. But mostly afflicted, mostly Venus, Mercury, and Mars. Now, with this example that I'm gonna give here, this subject, that I also consider this person to be not only narcissistic, manipulative as well. I think this is like one of the first examples of a real sociopathic person as well. But then I'm going to leave that aside because I want to focus on the narcissistic manipulative side. Also, you're going to look for, obviously, water signs. Us, well, I'm a water sign. We can understand human emotions so well that we are able to manipulate them then after. We're very good at emotionally manipulating and drawing people into our own little worlds, and then slowly but surely, like basically almost like a liquid filling everything up, until we make this person perish, basically. So like obviously a lot of water influences. I would look for Pisces mostly. Cancers not really, because I think we're too emotional. We're too open with our emotions. We're not very good at hiding our emotions. So even if we don't like something, you're you will be able to see it on our faces. We're going to be so fucking obvious. If we commit a murder or we kill someone or whatever, you're we're going to start crying. We're going to start getting upset or getting I don't know, depression, or just starting drinking really heavily, and you're just gonna know something is wrong with us. Like, come on, cancer is, you can tell when something's wrong with cancers. That's why we're not very good at hiding things. But Pisces and Scorpios, for example, they are very well capable of living a double life, and it's almost like they're very good at like hiding that, especially Scorpios. Now, Pisces are more prone to like displays of victimization and trying to gain like self-pity. Like Pisces would be committing crimes they would be committing crimes more out of victimization, or trying to gain pity, or trying to say, well, he attacked me, so I had no choice but like to chop him up and burn him or something. Scorpios are a different story. Scorpios are a whole, they have a whole world, emotional world, that's just hidden 6 feet deep. Very, very, very difficult to unravel in any sense. So you want to look out for those. As I said, Leo, Libra, Pisces, Scorpio. I'm gonna put in Sagittarius. I'm not gonna put Gemini, because Geminis have a problem. They just fuck themselves up completely. They might do something behind your back, but they just talk too much. And they can't really keep it together, in the sense that they're probably gonna tell 10 people about their crime before they even think about it. So they're pretty easy to unravel. That's why I don't want to put them as much as there, but they are volatile enough. Sagittarius is another story. Sagittarius is the one to look out for. If anyone has a lot of planets in Sagittarius, for a reason, now it's just from my observation as well, for a reason they're just extremely volatile. My God, their energy is so volatile. As much as I love them, they're fun, they're adventurous, they are, they definitely are a lot of fun to be around. I work with a Sagittarius woman, and she must be 60, and she's absolutely crazy in a good way. I absolutely love her. But she's very volatile as well. There's only so much adventure you can hold on. So you obviously want to look for volatility, but that aside, I'm more talking about now more being more of a silent manipulator. And Libras are very good at that. Definitely water signs are very good at that as well. Especially Libras and water signs. Why Libras? Because Libras hate being called out on stuff. They hate conflict, even though they engage in conflict very often, and they kind of seek conflict very often. But then they kind of say, "Oh well, I don't like to fight," but then they would be the first one fighting. And they're very good at hiding, like trying to portray this image of themselves as in, they're wonderful people, but they are very superficial. Not all of them. Well, obviously, I'm not taking this in a context of like everybody is like that. Obviously, I want you to understand when I do my videos and I claim stuff like that, I'm not putting everybody in the same basket. It's mainly, I'm talking about the profile of the narcissistic manipulator per se, and as if Jesus. As you will see in the chart that I've put in front, that this person, for example, has a lot of Libra. I mean, look at that. It's Mercury, Venus, there's the Sun, there's Saturn, there's Pluto. Now, I have mentioned Pluto as well. Pluto loves power, they love control, they love manipulation. You're going to see that as someone that has a lot of Pluto, they do like to feel in power and control, and especially if it's making an affliction to Mercury, their mind, or Venus, their emotion, then they will love to display that in a very toxic way. either through sex or their career, professional. They like to have their power and their control. Now, as you will see, this is a perfect example, this person, because this person has the Sun, Saturn, and Pluto. I know Saturn and Pluto is generational for 1980s, especially 1982. So this person has that in their first house. So this person is very, with the Sun in Libra in the first house, is extremely self-centered. This is someone who is also very Saturn in Libra. It's as I mentioned that with the United States chart, there's Saturn in Libra in the 10th house, wants to be represented as someone who is diplomatic, someone who is very fair, someone who is very kind, but in a very structurized, in a very strict and authoritarian kind of way. Almost like it's like a Putin. It's almost like because Putin is a Libra as well. Almost like a Putin of astrology, But then I'm gonna blow the shit out of you in the background, and I'm gonna instill war all around. But that's the epitome of Libra itself, So this person has Pluto in Libra as well in the first house. Now, I've seen the combination of Saturn and Pluto in the first house is they're very magnetic. You see, Pluto is extremely magnetic. Like, people that have Pluto in their first house are so magnetic that you almost have an orgasm seeing them. You see them and you're like, oh my god. It's almost like Peter Steele kind of energy. So yes, they are very magnetic. Yes, they're very attractive. Yes, there's something, especially if you're Pluto dominant like me. I have Pluto in the 8th house, Scorpio, so I am typical Plutonian, and I am very drawn to Plutonian people. But then there's the other side when I'm like, when I see this this kind of combination, I just like, yeah, I need to run away. This, God knows, like, if this person is low value, God knows what they're capable of, right? Now, this is all nice and dandy when we look at this chart. We see the Sun, we see Saturn, we see Pluto, we see someone that is very organized, we see someone that is very, like, at first easy to get along with. But on the dark side, we see someone that is very power-driven, very controlling, and very strict, organized and maybe perfectionist, but very strict. We also see someone that with Venus and Mercury in the 12th house, we can see someone that is definitely drawn to foreign lands, someone that could be living a double life, someone that lives in the shadows, likes to have their privacy, likes their life in isolation, and someone that is also prone to fine arts and prone to aesthetic beauty, aesthetic preferences of some sort, especially with Venus in regarding to women in particular. So this is someone who could be doing art, could paint naked women, someone who could be doing that sort of thing, someone who values aesthetic creativity and classical art and so on, So this is very prominent here, but then we can see right away, not with only one fast moving planet, we can see with 3 of them that they're afflicted by the moon in Cancer, which is, I'm gonna actually get to this point. It's in conjunction, it's conjoined, conjunction, whichever you want to say. I don't care, as long as you get the meaning, It's in conjunction to the North Node. Now, this is very much a mother wound. It's a wound that's coming from from childhood with the mother. We can tell that from here the mother has either been alienated from this person's life, or the mother has been living in a different place, hidden from sight, or living abroad into another country as well. We can also see from here that the mother was present in this person's life at one point, but then the mother has been somehow cut off or alienated, which in this individual created a deep hatred for women, created a deep hatred for the female in general, which is now displaying either through control, art, and it's displaying through seeking some sort of validation from that mother wound that occurred early in childhood, it being afflicted as well. We can also see from here there's the moon that's afflicted by it's afflicted with the sun, so it's in square to the sun. We can see there's a separation between the parents, the separation between the mother and the father, causing obviously this childhood wound that's present. Obviously there's a trine between moon and Jupiter, so it's obviously at one point the person has tried to display their ideas and their faith. They have tried to identify with some faith and some belief very early in their life that maybe shook up their comfort zone, and this person is emotional. It's not that this person has no emotions, but they're deeply afflicted by a childhood wound, and they're deeply afflicted by, I would dare to say, and mark my words, when you see the moon in conjunction to the north node or the south node, and I've seen this with so many people. Okay, well, definitely with the north node, there's something karmic going on here. But I've seen this with a lot of people. There are always mental health issues with this north node and south node, with so closely to the moon. It's causing either mental health issues that's coming from the mother, from the maternal line, from the family line, or it's coming from the individuals themselves, because they have experienced such fateful, deep trauma, emotional trauma that is manifesting in their current life. So I'm not saying this person definitely has emotions, but they're buried deep within the trauma of their core selves, starting mainly from the mother's side of the family, from the mother wound. The moon is very high up in the chart. So the moon is like the helm of the whole chart. It's so visible. The father I wouldn't say the father had much influence here, but the mother is like the main issue here. So therefore this is gonna create a hatred, because the mother's love, an individual who has moon in Cancer, they crave love from women. They crave love from a feminine person. They crave the nurturing, the like soft and beautiful and warm love. They never got that. With that afflicted moon, they would have never got that. What would create that? The fact they never got that mother's love would create absolute hatred for women, and would create a need to entertain themselves, perhaps sexually or perhaps psychologically, to entertain themselves by instigating control over women, wanting to get that love and affection and that motherly feeling by force, which obviously creates very sick individuals at the end. A bit of a break, because this is going to take a while. I'm very passionate about this topic. My God, you can probably tell. Next thing you want to look out for, and I've said it so many times in previous videos, like I don't know how many times I've said that, definitely looking for Mercury in Affliction to Neptune. This is very important. Now, as much as they can be excellent writers, they can be excellent actors, they can have a wonderful voice, and they just have this ability to just swoop you off your feet with words. And that's why they make excellent actors. And I think I said that in the previous video. They make such excellent actors because of that. Because of this ability to just look at you straight into the eyes and just straight up lie. Not even blink, not even like look away. That is the ability of the master narcissistic manipulator, their ability to lie so well. There's one person that actually told me a couple of years ago, it's not that you get to encounter these people, and I'm talking about manipulators, narcissists, and sociopaths and psychopaths. It's not that you go on about your day every single day. It's not that you encounter these people every day so you're able to tell them for what they are. Like, obviously you need a couple of encounters, you need a couple of experiences. And if you're not, especially, and okay, if you're not super psychic, and if you're not super in tune with yourself and you know people very well, you can't tell, you're not able to tell. Whoever says, oh well, I would know right away because I would know there's something wrong, no, trust me, you wouldn't. With these people, you're a prey and they are predators. You are in their predatory environment, and no, you would not be able to tell, because if you have no enough experience, and if you're hypersensitive, and if you function on emotions, no, you wouldn't be able to know. So, okay, maybe some would, but not 90% wouldn't, because they camouflage themselves very well. So yeah, the affliction between Mercury and Neptune, which is why a lot of you're going to see a lot of actors and singers, they have Neptune in the 3rd house, writers as well, or Neptune in the 5th house or the 10th house. You have to be master of deception. It's almost like being a magician, but in the wrong way, and basically ruining people's lives, you know. So yeah, you have to be master magician, you have to be master manipulator, you have to have your way with words. You need to also, with Pluto, very smart individuals, because to be honest, when I just see Neptune influences, I am not really worried. But when I see a Pluto influence, I am very worried, because when I see a Pluto influence, I'm like, well, holy shit, these are, they're gonna like go deep and go hard, you know. And if they think they have you, they are not going to let you go unless you let them go, or unless you call the police. The Saturn is very structurized. Saturn is very organized. Saturn can be, they can be very picky. They can be like hard perfectionist. And in combination with that Pluto, there is a little bit of like Pluto, obviously, as well as Jupiter, but Pluto is more, as I said in the Bill Gates's video and the Pluto in Aquarius video, Pluto is a megalomaniac. Everything it touches, it creates enormous energy. In this case, it touches Saturn, and Saturn touches Pluto, and it's in the 1st house. It's in Libra, which is an inanimate object. And it's making a very good sextile. Well, it's generational, but still, it's making a sextile to, it's making an easy flowing aspect to Neptune in the 3rd house, and Neptune in the 3rd house in Sagittarius. Now you can see that this person is very prone to philosophy. That person is a good writer. That person has a way with words. That person can draw attention through philosophy, through research, through like faith, through ideology mostly. When I see Neptune in Sagittarius in the 3rd house or the 9th house, or I see Moon in the 9th house in Sagittarius, or Moon in the 3rd house in Sagittarius, and so on, or the 5th house even, because the 5th house is self-expression and it's also our creativity and so on. So in this case, you can see someone that is very prone to ideology, maybe to extremes, prone to like being very devoted to their ideology or to their faith. And trying to, what I found the dark side of Sagittarius, they're very philosophical. And because I've dated one for 2 years, and it was the worst 2 years of my life, they are prone to having this deep philosophy about life, having like set kind of views on life, and they will try to impose that on you until you've nothing left. And you can't say no to them, because they're always right and you're always wrong. especially with an afflicted Mercury like this one, an afflicted Neptune that is making an affliction to Mercury, and Mercury is retrograde. So this person, actually, when you look at it, this person probably in real life, in like real life, real world, I'm talking about being out there in the world, talking to people, probably has no real life skills, social skills. But then you want to look at the 11th house. The 11th house is also the house of internet and virtual connections. And it's in the sign of Leo. So this person wants to be recognized and wants to be... this person was very... I'm going to point that out just because it has relevance to the chart. This person thought they had a lot of they had a lot of relevance online, and they wanted such public recognition online, not in the real world. And it's very visible from that connection from the ruler of the 11th house of virtual presence, which is in the first house. It's very self-centered, Mars in Sagittarius is very volatile with men. They often have a high sex drive. They have, especially, and with women as well, and they're very... So you can tell that this person is very adventurous with their mind and with their words. They probably do... they probably have a sort of like fetish, I would say, especially looking at the 9th house and the 12th house. They're the fetish for people that come from other countries and foreigners. They are curious about different countries, different languages, and they're probably wanting to learn different languages and are curious about it. They explore that realm of foreign languages and culture and foreign lands and so on. So this is the main thing, because most of the planets are like below the horizon. I would say that this person is very, as much as this person is very Libra, likes social interactions, is obsessed and thrives on social interactions. At the same time, this person is very deeply introverted. When you see that planets are above the horizon, you would consider the person to be more extroverted than introverted, although that cannot always be the case. Now you're going to see that Chiron is placed retrograde in Taurus in the 8th house, the house of occult, the house of sex, the house of other people's money, and the house of taxes, and so on, and death, and maybe even chronic disease and pregnancy at times. Now Chiron, the wounded healer, the wound is placed in that house, and as far as I can see, it's retrograde. Well, as far as I can see, it's retrograde. So there obviously is some sort of wound that comes from there. I know that this person was very much using occult practices and was very much into occultism, but in a almost semi-hedonistic way. So you can see that actually this is actually causing a wound to this person. And this is where the weakest link is to this person. Probably this person thinking that they're psychically very strong and they're very, I don't know, they're masters in what they do, but it's actually just causing an additional wound to their own personality and to their whole lives. Then you can see the second house isn't too bad, actually. But it's also overlooking the 8th house in Taurus. It's almost like this person is always gonna try, because they have such good manipulative skills. So this person is always gonna try. With most narcissistic manipulators, they need funds and they need finances to be able to finance their lavish. Is that how you say it? Lavish. Extravagant lifestyles. They need to be able to be lazy and to mooch off other people, and one way to do it is to talk their way into someone's life and into someone's bank account. So you could see that this person has no issues doing that, and it's actually going to be well off probably most of their life with that position of Jupiter in Scorpio. This person is driven by money, is money hungry. Scorpios, they like power, they like fame, and they like control. So the dark side of Scorpio, obviously. So in this case, this person is driven by money. This person likes an extravagant lifestyle, and Jupiter in the second house, they like comfort, the comfort of an easy and a good life. And what better way to have that is to use other people for that, or use their clothes. In this case, with the trying to to the moon in Cancer in the ninth house, to use people from other countries or to use their own family members to gain what they want, and to gain basically a very financially and financially comfortable life. So this is the things to look for mainly. Obviously, there's tons of other aspects that you can look for, but this is just an example of a person that to sort of look out for. Now, I understand that there could be someone watching this video and they're born during this time and they have these exact same aspects, but the thing is, they're a different type of soul and they were raised differently. They had a different upbringing, so they can turn up to be completely different. Now, this person has very nice aspects as well. This person, if this person wanted, this person could have become famous, and this person could have actually excelled in the realms of arts and crafts if this person wanted to, but this person chose to do the worst they can in this lifetime, and I don't know if they will ever learn. So definitely don't feel offended if I'm taking someone's example. Don't feel offended, and don't come to me and say, "Oh well, I have these aspects as well," and you're telling me that I'm a manipulator and a horrible person. It's like, no, I'm just using someone who is on a soul level very low developmental, on a very, very, very low plane of development, and probably will not develop a lot in this life.